All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Project We Inspire Facebook platform and YouTube channel. So, I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to check in. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. I know that COVID has definitely impacted a lot of families, friends, coworkers. So, please let us know if you're doing okay. We will definitely send out prayers and lots of good vibes your way. So today is Thursday, February 17th, 2022. My name is Rachel Mei Yang, and I'm from Sacramento, California. I'm the founder, host, and creator of Project We Inspire. So, if you've been a part of Project We Inspire's community, I want to again genuinely thank each and every one of you for coming back to support PWI. Again, if you are new to the community, our mission and vision here is to share unique individuals' journey of how they overcame barriers, challenges, and struggles to reach and accomplish their goals, dreams, and passions. So, if you haven't watched some of our interviews, our main goal is just to provide you these wonderful stories, inspirational stories, so that they can maybe help you, motivate you to continue to follow your dreams, your goals, and what you love to do. So, I know it's been a minute since I've done a interview here. Last night I was with Coach Dennis. Today I'm going to be with Brian. Tomorrow I'm going to be with Brian's brother Michael. So I'm super excited that in the next few weeks we are going to be featuring these wonderful people in the athletic world. And I have to admit, I'm not very inclined and know a lot about soccer or basketball, volleyball, but you know what? I'm learning football, so I'm definitely learning from each and every one of our guests. So tonight we have a very special young individual from Minnesota, and Brian is a professional Hmong soccer player that represents the U.S., and he is one of two, which is his other brother, Michael. And I've been so privileged, and thank you again to Chance for introducing us, because it's been really fun chatting with you guys for the past month or two, just getting to know you guys, and we are so happy that you guys are here with Project We Inspire. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, I hope everybody on here and whoever's listening is doing well. I know it's been a tough time this past year for everybody, so just hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah, we definitely know that in the past month or two, we've all been pretty impacted by either COVID or, a lot of things are happening in our lives. So we hope that our interview tonight will give you guys some insight, awareness, inspiration. But again, thank you so much, Brian, for taking the time to chat with us at PWI. Um, let's start off with a little bit about your background and where you were born, what your childhood was like. What is it like being a young soccer player as a kid? Because I remember growing up watching my dad play soccer, but I definitely, didn't get the upbringing like you did. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I was born and raised in St. Paul, Minnesota. I first started playing soccer when I was just 7,
Mhm.
and a lot of people who have followed me or my brother, they know that what got us into soccer was the movie Shaolin Soccer.
Mhm.
And so that was when my dad first came in and asked us if we really wanted to play, then he would teach us and show us how to play the right way.
Mhm.
And I guess as a kid, you're not really thinking about going to play college or going to play professionally. You
Mhm.
just want to play because it's just fun and you enjoy it, and that's just something that you just love to do.
Mhm.
And then it led to my dad creating a soccer club
Mhm.
called St. Paul United back in 2005. And a lot of the young kids now, they don't really know that my dad was the one who started that club.
Mhm.
And a lot of the Hmong kids who do play nowadays did come up after my generation.
Mhm.
and and then from there we just moved to Minnesota Thunder Academy.
Oh, that's so cool. Just curious. I know that we have some questions lined up, but what was it like to grow up with a dad that loved soccer? It looks like as much as you guys did and created St. Paul United. How do you start a soccer? What is it? Like, is it a group club?
Yeah, like a team.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Like, I think like anybody can start one if they wanted to. But he just had like this vision of starting
Mhm,
a more organized team because we were just playing recreational soccer, and
mhm,
you don't really get taught the correct way how to play during rec soccer,
mhm,
and like the level is just like you're playing with people who are beginners, and
mhm.
some players may be a little bit more advanced. And my dad, just having a big history in soccer because he grew up in France and he knows how players develop. So he realized that the situation that we were in with rec soccer, it wasn't going to benefit us. So
Yeah.
that's what made him start St. Paul United.
Oh, wow, that's so cool, and so it's still active till this day? Is it still
I'm not really
you know?
sure.
I bet you
To
were
this
so
day.
busy, I was just like, no, I was just curious, sorry, I'm going a
Yeah.
little off script, but, yeah, I can only imagine, like, our parents starting stuff because I remember growing up and, my dad started the, one of the first theater shows in Sac City College, and then the radio station in Orville, and he's passed on for over 10 years now, but you don't really know like what they've done back then until you really ask and then keep track. But we can get so
Mhm.
busy with life, so no worries with that. And then I'm curious to hear. You mentioned that you played for Minnesota Thunder Academy. So I'm curious because I know that a lot of people who follow soccer, they may not know what it's like to be in a soccer league versus a club. What's the difference between playing with different organizations like that?
So like for me, it was kind of like a hard adjustment at first
Mhm,
because coming from St. Paul United during like my generation, it was just known as, or like the club in general, like even during recent times, it's just known for being and bringing up like these Hmong players. So like a
mhm.
lot of the club was just basically Hmong
Yeah.
players only, but obviously we're gonna like accept anybody who wanted to join. And so during my youth career, just being around a lot of Hmong teammates, that was like made me very comfortable. But then moving to Minnesota Thunder Academy, that was like my very first time playing with other ethnicities. So it was
Mhm,
just like it made me kind of uncomfortable and kind of like I guess like also like doubt myself too because it was just like, oh, this is like an environment that I'm not really comfortable in. So, but as you get older, you start to mature, and
mhm,
I think it became easier as I got older because you start getting used to everything else. But that's
mhm.
pretty much it between different organizations and how I adjusted growing up.
Oh, nice. It is very different when you play with just as they say, your own race or ethnicity, and then you start working or playing with other ethnicities. It's very different. The dynamics, the way that the style of how people play,
Mhm.
personalities and stuff.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine like how different that could be. So let me see here. So, in regards to your soccer career, I noticed that there was a lot of athletes that don't normally share their ups and downs or their struggles in their career. However, you openly shared in your bio that your body height and size was a challenge for you. So, please share with us because I'm sure there's people out there who wanted to play soccer, wanted to play sports, and then people are like, okay, you're not tall enough, you're not big enough, you're not, strong enough. So how did you overcome those barriers?
I think like just being patient because I knew that my body was eventually gonna catch up. But during like those times when when I was going through a lot of these ups and downs
Mhm.
as a youth and battling through a lot of adversity, my body wasn't able to like help me during those times because I was a lot smaller, I was a lot weaker, a lot slower than my teammates and the competition. So I was just like, when am I gonna reach that level where I can fully be able to compete? Because it
Mhm.
wasn't like I was scared of going into like, let's say, for example, like just going into like battling like other opponents like for the ball or anything, but it was just the fact that physically I wasn't ready and I didn't my body didn't start changing and start growing until I was 15 to 16, and that's when I realized that, okay, I can compete now because my body is finally developing, and this is allowing me to be seeing more success in a way, and I think that's what helped me, get this athletic scholarship to attend, the University of Wisconsin Green Bay.
Mhm. Yeah, I noticed that especially with athletes and people who are competing with their bodies and everything, that it takes time for your body to grow, even though you're eager to play, you're eager to
Yeah,
go out there. But yeah, I can only imagine like sometimes your body doesn't catch up with you until you're 15, 16, 17 years old. But congratulations on your athletic scholarship to University of Wisconsin Green Bay. I see here that you got your degree in business administration.
yep.
So just curious, how did you get selected for the scholarship? Because I've heard of a lot of different types of scholarships, but to get a specific athletic scholarship, did you apply? Um, and how did they select you? How did you know? How did you get news of it? And then also, how was it like being a business admin major and also at the same time being a active college soccer player?
So I received a scholarship by just reaching out to like the coaches to invite them to watch one of my games when
Mm,
I was younger. So my team, like we traveled to Wisconsin to play against a Wisconsin team, and then so I just reached out and I said, yeah, I'm gonna be in this area at this time. Like, would you guys come and watch me play because I'm interested in attending the university?
mhm,
And so they came out, and fortunately enough, the next day they were holding a soccer camp
mhm,
for their college where high school players can come in and get noticed and recognized and hopefully start a relationship with a coach to hopefully get a scholarship there. So after that game, I attended the camp and things went very well because they saw me play the day before
mhm,
and I played very well at that camp. So that's what started this relationship. And just as time went on, they just were more interested in getting me there and wanted me to commit verbally.
mhm,
So that's how it happened. And once that happens, then they schedule you to visit the college and they'll take you around showing you all the facilities and where the classes are. And then at the end of the meeting, that's when they decide if they're going to give you an athletic scholarship or not. And I was lucky enough to get one. And being a business major,
mhm,
I would say I mean, it was not like easy or anything, but for me, it felt more easy to go about it because I had a lot of teammates with me
mhm,
that were also business majors, so we would, like, just help each other out. After class, we would also, like, discuss and, like, see if there's anything that we can do to make the class easier, and, just being a college player in general, I think that was probably those 4 years were probably one of the best years of, like, my
mhm,
life in general because you just create this bond with your teammates for 4 years and, like, they become your brothers, and just the whole environment was so enjoyable, and, like, every time I think about it, like, I keep telling myself, like, if I could go back and, like, experience it again, I would, but it's
Yeah.
fun, it's stressful at times because you don't wanna focus on school, you just wanna play as much as you can, but being a student athlete, you're a student first, so you must focus on school first, but
Mhm.
I think the whole college experience was very good for me.
Yeah, that's great to hear that, Brian, because I had similar experiences too when I went to University of the Pacific in Stockton, and I was there for 5 years. And I can tell you that those were some of the best memories that I had. And I was not a student athlete, but I did work in residential and I was an RA. So I definitely can relate to when you have peers or colleagues that work with you, like you said, play with you, but also share the same major. So for sure, definitely, it's nice to have people to um, talk about classes, like academic stuff, but also play with you. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And I also was just thinking, I've never really seen like how athletes would actually call coaches and people to watch them play.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious, again, going a little bit off script, but when you're playing, what do coaches and people look for? Because you know, I it's okay. So I understand like when you apply for a scholarship, you write, that this is what you've done,
Yeah.
but to actually be watched, like they watch you play. So what do they look for when you're out in the field? What are some of the things that they keep an eye on?
I think this is like it could go any way for any coach. It
Mhm,
depends on like their team or what style that they want their team to play, what kind of players that they want to bring into their program.
mhm,
But especially like here in this country and what I've experienced, I think the first thing that they look at is athleticism and like how athletic are you or
mhm,
if you're athletic or not. And then everything else, like if you're just a good soccer player and like if you're a smart player, that will all come after. But I think the first thing that they look at is this guy strong? Is this guy able to like hold his own ground when he is at this level? And I think that's like the first thing that they look at.
mhm,
But everything technically with the ball or with like these soccer skills,
mhm,
that also comes into play too.
mhm. No, that's great. I think that that's good to know because for those that are maybe haven't invited a coach or coaches to come watch them, it's good to know that they really look for athleticism and to really see, if you're able to, I don't know, I guess, be out in the field to, I can imagine, you have to run a lot. So, you have to have a lot of stamina, right?
Yeah.
Endurance. So, uh, so I think that's one of the things that I imagine like some of the coaches will look for. So going on to the next question, and again, for those of you who are viewing or watching, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, if you just want to say hello, feel free to. If you have um, anything you guys want to ask Brian or myself, we are more than happy to answer your questions. We'll just kind of play by ear. So I know that today is Thursday night, and I'm sure that a lot of people are pretty busy, maybe just getting off of work. And I know that our interview times have been changed a couple times. So if you guys have any questions during the interview or afterwards, feel free to write on the group, the chat here, the comments, and we can definitely answer your questions. So moving to the next question. So given that you've participated in multiple professional combines, hopefully I'm saying it correctly, but still didn't receive any professional contract from soccer teams, you shared that sometimes things don't always turn out in your favor. Can you tell us a little bit about waiting for those contracts and what was that like for you?
Uh, like, attending those combines, like, especially after my senior year in college, you go to these combines and you're playing with players that you've never played with before, so,
Mhm,
that is always hard to adjust after the first couple days or, like, just the first day in general, but
mhm,
I thought I had played good enough, or I'm not well, good enough, yeah, and, um, I thought, especially at this specific combine, I thought I was, like, the best player there, but I still didn't earn a professional contract out of there, and
Mm,
like I said, and like you said, like, things always don't turn out in your favor, but the whole process after that was just, like, it becomes very stressful, and
mhm,
you start to, like, doubt if you're gonna make it or not because after my senior year, I'm like, what, like 22? And a
mhm,
lot of those players around the world at that age that they are playing professionally at that time. So it's like I'm running against the clock too to sign a professional contract because not a lot of teams would take a chance on a an amateur who's 22 and someone who is 18 and has pro experience.
mm,
But it wasn't until, like, the middle of 2020 during the pandemic where I first received my, professional contract with the Michigan Stars FC
mhm,
because, they were holding a tryout, so I went
mhm.
there for a week, and things went very well, and it was a good first professional contract, and for it being my first one ever, but the whole experience wasn't all that great.
Mm. Yeah, that, it's so interesting with getting contracts for anything in life, that it doesn't always work in your favor. And, I'm really sorry to hear that, either you left on bad terms or things didn't really go your way. And so tell us a little bit about what happened, because, sometimes you have a lot of hopes and a lot of things, you put all your energy and hours into it. Um, but tell us a little bit about some of the things that you went through and how did you get through it?
So I dealt with a lot of injuries during my career, and
Mhm,
those injuries did come up again during my time in Michigan.
mhm,
And so I guess that, especially in a professional environment, if you can't play, they're just gonna not focus on you anymore. They're gonna
mhm,
move on to the next guy.
mhm,
And so that's what happened with me. And when I came back from these injuries, it was hard for me to get back and find my starting position again because
mhm,
it was like no matter how good I played in training, they didn't accept it no matter how good I played in these scrimmages because all of this happened in the off season.
mhm,
So no matter how good or how well I played, they just didn't believe in me anymore. And
mhm,
once someone doesn't believe in you anymore, then it's hard to regain that back. But I just try to focus as much as possible, and I just try to keep proving them wrong every time because I was thinking about the bigger picture
mhm,
about like I'm not going to stay here forever. I'm trying to work up the ladder and trying to get a bigger contract that hopefully comes up. So I just plan on sticking it out and trying to make the best out of the situation.
Yeah, I just want to commend you for sharing your struggles and being so honest that, even with all the injuries, and that's the truth of it, when it really comes down to being an athlete, right? Is
Yep.
that we suffer or go through a lot of injuries, and ideally we don't want to go through that. We don't want to go through all these injuries, but in reality, right? And I think this was something I talked about with Coach Dennis yesterday, was that my son, the only time I really had a taste of football was when my son was like 5, 6 years old, and he played a couple years with the little league, where they just did the flag football. But I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen if he, breaks a foot or twists an ankle or
Mhm.
gets injured? Because he had at one point had a dream too to work to be and work in some form of like athletic field, but with that said, having those injuries, the knee injury, you need a lot of support and you need a lot of encouragement. And like you said, you focus on the bigger picture and you focus on moving forward. But who was your support system to help you get through this? Because I think a lot of, I think our viewers and community members, just like I've shared with the other guests, the reality is if you know that your career is not going in the way that you want, then you got to lean on to with some, with a support
Yeah.
system. Who helped you through that?
Mainly it was just my family, my
Mhm.
parents, my siblings, and even my girlfriend.
Mhm.
They just supported me and just made me try to see the positive side of things. And
Mhm.
especially during my whole situation with Michigan and how the
Mhm.
team and I handled things, we didn't end on good terms at all.
Mhm.
So, and that kind of like hurt me because that the even when I got injured there,
Mhm.
the team wasn't like very supportive of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just say like my family, they were the ones that really helped me through everything.
No, that's great. I'm really glad that your family, your girlfriend, and people around you, could support you. And then it's unfortunate that the team and them weren't so supportive. But I think that's when you really truly learn during your worst moments, in your times of need, who really is there for you.
Yep.
So I'm so glad that your family and your girlfriend and the closest people were there for you, because we need that, right? We definitely need that, and that's why I want to make sure that the community knows, and future players, is that sometimes when things aren't going your way, you really need your family, your loved ones around you. So again, I'm just so sad to hear that you've had that big setback or the setbacks in your professional soccer career. But eternally, you had shared, continue your higher education by getting your master's degree. And you know, tell us a little bit about how you readjusted and reshifted your goals, because you have to do that, right?
Yeah.
Once you know that your career as a professional soccer player changes. So, share with us a little bit about your future goals and how do you feel about it now, and what made you shift your career goals?
I think ultimately it was just thinking about how I'm not gonna play this sport forever, and especially like me understanding that if I'm if I'm still playing at like this low professional level, then it's gonna be hard to like make ends meet because like the pay is not as great as higher professionals. So
Mhm.
it's just preparing myself for like the next step in my life, and when the soccer career is done, then it's just knowing that I do have a backup plan and
Mhm.
like installed that can help me.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's something that maybe some athletes, if not people in general, that I know, that sometimes what I started out too with being a music therapy career, I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be my career. And then I realized that once funding was reduced and there was not a lot of internships, and I was like, what do I do now? So it took me 6 years to figure out that I wanted to go into social work. But I can only imagine that shift, how you have to readjust and have that backup plan. So I'm really glad that you are deciding to go and get your master's degree. Just curious, where are you planning to go get your master's degree?
Currently I'm doing it online, and I'm doing it at Southern New Hampshire University.
Mhm. How
And
is that? How is going to school online right now?
I would say it's a lot easier than doing it in person because you can do it on your own like time. You can do it on your own schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see that the shift with schooling online versus right during COVID. Pre-COVID, it was a lot harder. And now even with elementary school, junior high, and high school, even with the college courses, it's not as intense as before, because
Yeah.
like you can pace yourself, you can kind
Yeah.
of when you want, and there's not so much pressure because there's so many different changes because of COVID. So I just want to say, Brian, that you have definitely been resilient and maintaining that positive attitude, even though your heart was set to becoming a professional soccer player and being, in soccer. But, I'm just really impressed that at a young age, you're able to just, readjust and say, hey, it might not work. And so you pursuing your master's in sports management. I'm definitely proud of you that you stuck it through and that you were positive, because I know that sometimes we can get very discouraged.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned here sometimes life, well, no, I mentioned, so I wrote here sometimes life has curveballs, or I call them lemons, and we have to learn to hit those curveballs no matter what happens, or make lemonade of whatever lemons we get, whatever life gives us. And I believe that you did that. So, in closing, what are some inspirational, encouraging words that you want to share with the Project We Inspire youths and community today after everything that you've been through and you've experienced?
I think everything that I've been through and just experiencing, especially in college, I think it's just being present and just being in the moment, because you can worry about so many things like in the past or what happened in the past or things that in the future that haven't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this could change your mindset and affect whatever you're doing in present time. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say none of like whatever happened in the past, like already happened. And
Yeah.
what happened in the future, you don't know if it's gonna happen or not. So I think just being present
Mm-hmm.
and just enjoying every moment and what you're going through, I think everybody should do that, because
Mm-hmm.
especially in my experience as a college player, I was just worried about and focusing on the next step and not really enjoying the moments in college and not really like being mindful about how important these experiences are. And
Mm-hmm.
because now it's just I miss those moments and I can't get those back. So yeah, I would just say be present and just enjoy like the little things.
Mm-hmm. You know, that is so true. Sometimes when we're so focused on the goals and the things that we've been setting for ourselves for a long time, we forget to be, like you said, be mindful of the present moment. We forget about those small things that really mean a lot. And that's really inspirational. I think that's very encouraging, because I can only imagine being an athlete, or being somebody who's constantly working towards that contract and working towards something bigger. But really, it's like you said about college. Now looking back, you would love to go back and
Yeah.
reconnect and make more memories, probably.
Yeah,
And
and it's like I can say any like motivational like advice, but I'm sure all of these youth people and just the community in general, like they've heard everything. So
Mhm,
it's like it doesn't really matter like if I say it or not. But
mhm.
I like I said before, I think just the most important thing is just being present and just being mindful of what you're doing.
Yeah, totally. I think that, Brian, by being mindful and being present and enjoying what you have in front of you is so important. Because, like I said, a lot of people think about the future a lot more than the very moment, and then they think about the past and they dwell on it. So, I definitely see that you've been resilient. Like I said, where you focused on readjusting and reshifting your goals and stuff. So thank you again, Brian, for joining us and telling us about your inspirational story and journey. I really do hope, like I said to Chance, like I said to Brian, Coach Steve, anybody, I am keeping track. I want to make sure that, whatever happens in the future, I want to bring you back on. Once you graduate with your
Yeah,
master's, you're doing something wonderful with your sports management degree, and to do a re-interview and say, hey, what's going on? Here's an update on Brian Vang, because
for
I know that
sure, for sure.
this is definitely not the end. This is, I think, a start of a new chapter for you. And
Exactly.
and I really think that moving forward, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing great things that are going to come out from your career and future. So I just want to say thank you so much for all the patience and all the time that you guys have given me to do this interview. And again, if anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to us. I know that this interview is going to be a little bit short, but you know what? It's going to be taped and live on YouTube and Facebook. So you guys are welcome to, write to us, and then we'll reach out back to you. So again, thank you for joining Project We Inspire Facebook platform, the YouTube channel. Have a great evening. Join us back tomorrow. Brian's brother Michael will be with us. It'll be 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, because Brian and Michael are in Minnesota, right?
Michael's actually in Ohio.
Ohio. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh wow. Okay, so we'll check in with him tomorrow, being in Ohio. So remember, everybody, to inspire someone every day and be inspired by someone or something every day as well. So together we will inspire for a better future. And thanks again, Brian. Have a wonderful night. Take care, and thank you, guys.
Thank you.